Marriage with Olivia once felt like an unshakable bond, woven together by years of laughter, whispered confessions, and the comfort of knowing we had each other. I believed in our love. I believed in her. Until the signs appeared, small at first, but insidious enough to fester like an infection beneath the skin. It started with the phone. She used to leave it on the counter, unlocked, unguarded. Then suddenly, it became an extension of her body, always clutched in her palm, turned face down, or buried in her purse. She smiled at messages I wasn't allowed to see, laughter escaping her lips at private jokes that had nothing to do with me. I told myself not to overthink. But overthinking is what keeps men from being made fools. The distance between us stretched in other ways too. Her once eager kisses turned to pecks, her arms barely holding me when we embraced. She avoided my touch at night, claiming exhaustion. But I knew her patterns. The spark between us wasn't just flickering, it was snuffed out. Then there were the disappearances. At first, it was girls' nights. Casual, harmless, but the frequency increased. She'd leave dressed to kill, perfume lingering in the air long after she was gone. Whenever I asked who she was with, her answers were vague, rehearsed. "Oh, just Emily and the girls," she'd say. But Emily let something slip one day. I bumped into her at a coffee shop, purely by chance. We exchanged pleasantries, and then I casually mentioned, "Hope you guys had fun last Friday." She blinked, confusion flickering across her face. "Friday? Oh, I wasn't out. Been sick all week." The air between us tightened. I smiled, masking the ice running through my veins. Must have mixed up the days. Emily sipped her coffee, oblivious to the unraveling happening inside me. That was the moment I knew. Olivia had lied. I drove home that night with a clenched jaw and white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel. My mind raced, piecing together every inconsistency, every hushed conversation, every time she claimed to be somewhere else. By the time I pulled into our driveway, I had made a decision. No confrontation. Not yet. I needed proof. So I watched. I listened. I took note of everything. Her late nights. The way she dressed differently. The excitement in her eyes that had nothing to do with me. Then, the final betrayal arrived like a knife to the gut. It was a Tuesday evening when I overheard her on the phone. She thought I was in the shower, water running loud enough to drown out her voice. But she miscalculated. Her giggles were soft, almost breathless. Friday night sounds perfect. I can't wait to see you." I stiffened. She wasn't talking to Emily. She wasn't talking to any of her supposed friends. She was arranging a date. With someone else. I shut off the water, my heartbeat pounding like war drums. Rage, cold and unrelenting, curled inside my chest. But I forced myself to breathe, to remain calm. Bursting in there and demanding answers wouldn't be satisfying. No, not nearly enough. She wanted Friday night for her rendezvous? Fine. I'd make sure it was a night she never forgot. You said. The moment I confirmed Olivia's betrayal, a cold, calculating version of myself emerged. Love had blinded me for too long, but clarity now burned through the haze. If she thought she could deceive me and walk away unscathed, she was mistaken. I spent Wednesday and Thursday setting my plan into motion. Every detail had to be perfect. Olivia believed she had control, believed she was orchestrating a grand deception. She had no idea that the stage she set for her affair would become the scene of her own humiliation. First, I secured proof. I didn't just want to know she was cheating. I needed undeniable evidence, something that would leave no room for manipulation, no space for excuses. A private investigator came highly recommended, a discreet professional who specialized in uncovering marital infidelity. By Thursday afternoon, I had photos, timestamps, and even voice recordings of Olivia's whispered promises to her lover, Adrian. She called him Adrian, baby. She promised things she once whispered to me. I clenched my fists as I listened to the recordings, but rage wouldn't cloud my judgment. It would fuel my resolve. Next, I contacted my lawyer. Olivia wouldn't see a single dime from me. She had no idea I had quietly restructured our finances months ago, long before suspicion entered my mind. If she wanted to trade our marriage for fleeting pleasure, she would lose everything in the process. Friday arrived. She was radiant as she stepped out of the bedroom, a vision in a red dress that clung to her body in all the ways that used to captivate me. But now I saw only deception. She gave me a cursory glance, adjusting an earring. "I'll be back late," she said casually. I smiled, the perfect picture of an oblivious husband. "Have fun." She kissed my cheek. A formality, nothing more, and left. The moment the door shut, I made my move. I texted the process server. "She's on her way." Process server. Understood. "I'll make the delivery personally." I grabbed my keys and followed. Not too closely. Just enough to watch without being noticed. She pulled into the parking lot of an upscale restaurant, candlelit tables, warm ambience, the perfect place for a secret romance. Adrian arrived moments later, stepping out of his sleek black car. Tall, well-dressed, the kind of man who probably thought he was untouchable. They greeted each other with a kiss. Passionate. Familiar. Disgust coiled in my stomach. I parked across the street, watching as they entered the restaurant. I didn't need to be inside. My presence there would come later, at the perfect moment. The process server was already en route. Inside, Olivia and Adrian took their seats, the mood between them light, flirtatious. She laughed at his jokes, touched his hand across the table. They toasted to whatever lies they told themselves to justify their betrayal. And then, the moment arrived. The process server walked in. Professional, efficient. He approached their table with unwavering confidence. "Mrs. Olivia Carter?" She blinked, the sound of her name yanking her from her romantic fantasy. Confusion flickered across her face before wariness set in. "Yes." A manila envelope landed before her. "You've been served." The restaurant hushed. Forks clinked against plates, a few whispers floated through the air. Adrian frowned. "What the hell is this?" Olivia's hands trembled as she tore open the envelope. Her eyes darted over the legal documents, divorce papers, asset protection clauses, irrefutable evidence of her infidelity. The reality of her actions crashed down on her in real time. Then, her gaze lifted, and locked onto mine. I stepped forward from my spot near the entrance, walking toward their table with deliberate slowness. The color drained from Olivia's face, her expression morphing from shock to sheer panic. "Surprise," I said coolly, sliding my hands into my pockets. Adrian's confusion deepened. "Who the hell is this?" I turned to him, amused by his ignorance. "Oh, that's right. She probably didn't tell you she was married." His jaw tensed. "Olivia." She opened her mouth, but no words came. Her fingers gripped the divorce papers like they were her last tether to reality. "Enjoy your date," I told them, flashing a cold smile. Then, without another word, I walked out, leaving them to marinate in the consequences of their betrayal. I stepped out of the restaurant into the crisp night air, feeling the weight of years of lies lifting from my shoulders. Behind me, Olivia and her lover sat frozen in shock, their perfect little fantasy shattered in front of an audience. The moment my car door shut, my phone buzzed. "Olivia, where are you? We need to talk." "Olivia, please, just answer me." I smirked, tossing my phone onto the passenger seat without replying. She could stew in her own mess for a while. Instead of heading home, I drove to a bar downtown, a place where no one knew me. I wanted to savor this moment, the first taste of freedom after being shackled to a liar for years. I ordered a whiskey, savoring the burn as it went down. For the first time in ages, I felt something close to satisfaction. Then, I noticed her. A woman sitting alone at the bar, swirling the amber liquid in her glass, lost in thought. Long, dark hair cascaded over her bare shoulders, her fitted black dress leaving just enough to the imagination. She was beautiful, but there was something else, an air of quiet confidence, a strength behind her dark eyes. She caught me looking. I expected her to glance away, but instead, she tilted her head slightly, studying me with equal curiosity. I took it as an invitation. Sliding into the seat beside her, I signaled to the bartender. Another round for both of us. She arched a brow. Bold. I smirked. I figured we could both use a drink. She lifted her glass, eyes flickering with amusement. You don't even know my name. I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice. Then tell me. A pause, then, Sophia. I offered my hand. Nathan. Sophia's grip was firm, warm. Rough night, Nathan? I chuckled, shaking my head. You could say that. Just finalized my divorce. Her lips parted slightly in surprise. Tonight. Moments ago, actually. I took a slow sip of my whiskey. My wife was out on a date. I thought I'd send the process server to deliver the papers in person. Sophia let out a low laugh, the kind that sent a shiver down my spine. That's cold. Cold. I mused. I thought it was poetic. She studied me, intrigued. So, what now? Are you the heartbroken ex-husband drowning his sorrows, or the man celebrating his newfound freedom? I leaned in closer, my voice steady. I think I'm the man ready for whatever comes next. Her eyes locked onto mine, holding my gaze. Interesting. The air between us shifted, electric. This wasn't about revenge, or proving anything to myself. This was about feeling alive again. About rediscovering the part of me Olivia had buried beneath years of deceit. Dance with me, Sophia said suddenly, standing and holding out her hand. I hesitated, but then, why the hell not? I took her hand, letting her pull me onto the dance floor. The music thrummed around us, a slow, seductive rhythm. Her body pressed against mine, moving in perfect sync, our breath mingling between us. She smelled of vanilla and something darker, something forbidden. Tell me, she murmured against my ear. Did you love her? For the first time, I answered without hesitation. Once. And now? I met her gaze, my hands tightening around her waist. Now? I don't feel a damn thing. Sophia smiled, a slow, knowing smile that sent heat spiraling through my veins. Good, she whispered. Then, her lips brushed against mine. And just like that, Olivia was nothing more than a distant memory. Sophia's lips were soft, teasing, her breath warm against mine. The moment stretched, electric, full of unspoken promises. I could have pulled away, could have let caution dictate my actions, but I didn't. I was done holding back, done being the man left behind while others took what they wanted. When I deepened the kiss, she didn't hesitate. Her fingers curled around the back of my neck, nails grazing my skin just enough to send a shiver down my spine. The music swirled around us, but it was background noise. All I could focus on was the heat between us, the way her body pressed against mine, the way it felt to be wanted again. When we finally broke apart, her lips were slightly swollen, her dark eyes burning with something unmistakable. Come with me, she whispered. I didn't even ask where. I just nodded. We left the bar without another word. The ghost of Olivia. The night air was crisp, the city buzzing with life. We walked side by side, our hands grazing but never quite touching, tension crackling between us. Then my phone rang. I already knew who it was. I ignored it. Then came the text. Olivia, Nathan, please. Olivia, we need to talk about this. Olivia, you can't just throw away everything we had. Sophia glanced at the screen, then back at me. Your ex. I exhaled sharply, sliding the phone into my pocket. She made her choice. Now she has to live with it. Sophia smirked. And you? Are you living with yours, or running from it? I met her gaze, unflinching. I'm walking away from my past. And I don't plan on looking back. She studied me for a moment, then nodded. Good. As if on cue, Olivia's name lit up my screen again. This time I answered. Olivia. A shaky breath. Nathan, please, just meet me. Let me explain. There's nothing to explain. My voice was cold, final. You lied. You cheated. You threw us away. She sniffled. I made a mistake. No, I corrected. You made a choice. And so did I. Silence. Then, barely a whisper, are you with someone right now? I glanced at Sophia, who was watching me with quiet amusement. I didn't owe Olivia anything. Not my answers, not my guilt, not my regrets. Yes. A strangled sob came through the line. That was fast. I let out a humorless laugh. So was your betrayal. More silence. Then, her voice, bitter now. I hope she breaks your heart like I did. I smiled. She won't get the chance. Then, I hung up. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. New roads. Sophia and I walked until we reached a quiet hotel, the entrance lit by soft golden light. She turned to me, searching my face. Are you sure? I wasn't sure about a damn thing. But I knew what I wanted. I reached out, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. Absolutely. She smiled, taking my hand and leading me inside. And just like that, Olivia became nothing more than a cautionary tale, a mistake I'd never make again. I had burned the bridge behind me. And I was never looking back.